There we go. Well, good evening, everyone. Steve Beck here in Morris, Illinois. It is, as usual, my pleasure to start us off with some appropriate music before the call and then open things up by reading our signature message. Looks like most of you are veterans and you know this thing backwards and forwards, upside down, and so on. But for our newer associates, especially Dave, this is a message you're going to want to print out, post somewhere where you'll see it every day. And it just keep repeating it until you've internalized it, and you'll find that it comes up in all sorts of conversations. It'll be an extremely useful tool for you. And it goes like this. I'm part of a growing team of entrepreneurs with a shared mission to protect and empower 2 million families and small businesses with LegalShield's network of law firms and world-class identity theft services. What we do matters, and we are looking for help. And with that, I am going to turn tonight's call over to a young lady in Colorado by the name of Dani Goeden. Dani and Leigh Perry have been putting this Zoom together for us for about 6 months now. And we certainly appreciate you both for that. And Dani, it is all yours.
Thank you so much, Steve. I really enjoyed the theme tonight. Really appreciate that. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I know we saw each other recently, and but yeah, I am super thankful, super excited, and I got my Christmas up. But happy Sunday. Welcome to our Sunday Team Zoom 2.0. Leigh and I have been hosting this since the Shield Nation call went down, and we have been super happy to do so. And with that, I'm going to open it up and head over to Miss Annette Zobar for our story section.
Thank you so much, Steve and Dani. Yes, I'm Annette Zobar, Gulfport, Mississippi, background QuickBooks consulting, and it's story time. So why do we do this every week? Why are they so important? Well, stories are how we share the incredible impact LegalShield has on the lives of our members and associates. They motivate us. They help us see how we make a difference. They help us make connections with our prospects. And they are especially important because you can borrow these stories you are about to hear, no matter if you're brand new or if you've been around a while. So pay attention to how the story's told, who told it, their background. You might even want to contact them for a 3-way call if their story will speak to a prospect. So we're now heading to Michigan to hear from Bridget Parkett-Parker.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bridget Parkett-Parker. My background is an ATM business owner out of Gaylord, Michigan. And I want to share tonight a letter that a lot of people get. And it is called the collection notice. I don't know if you can see it or not. But Ron and I had been married just a little over 1.5 years. And he opened this and he says, babe, he says, what are you doing getting a collection notice from AT&T when your phone is your bread and butter, babe, and we always pay our bill on time? And I said, oh, shoot, babe, that's identity theft for sure. He said, how do you know? I said, well, let me give this company a call, and you look at the top of the stationery, ladies and gentlemen, and there's no phone number to even be seen right there. It's seen down towards the bottom. But I says, I'm going to call AT&T because I was married for 30 years and I did file a bankruptcy with my first husband a long time before I got my divorce. But sometimes those phone bills hang out there and you don't think about it. So I wanted to make sure. So I called AT&T, asked for a manager, Patrick Johnson, manager with AT&T, got on, and I said, can you bring up this account number? Which he did. And he said, Bridget, he says, there's nothing with that account number under your name. And I gave them my ex-husband's name as well, just to be on the safe side. He says, no, ma'am. He says, what are you going to do? He said, I said, well, the balance is $80, but you know they'll settle for $40. And I says, I'm just going to turn it over to my law firm. He goes, your what? And I said, my law firm. Well, ladies and gentlemen, to make a long story short, I did get his name and number, and I did contact him after this. But I did send a letter over to Powers and Chapman in Michigan. They sent a letter to the address here in Bloomington, Illinois, and we never heard back. But my husband said to me, Ron said, babe, how did you know it was a fraud? And I said, well, first of all, the balance is 80, the settlement is 40. And oftentimes the fraud letters where it says collection notice, they'll send them out to the elderly. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, the elderly will pay the $80, not the 40, just so it doesn't ever come back to them. And it's scary to them. And this happens all the time. But they sent a letter, Powers and Chapman, they sent me a sample of the letter, and we never did hear from this company again. Back to you, Annette.
Thank you so much, Bridget. That is a great story. First of all, you have, because you're with LegalShield, you've been educating yourself about, what's been going on. And secondly, you turned something over to a law firm that, most people would have just paid the $40 to let it go away. But you had a top-notch law firm write a letter for you, and that made it go away. So thank you so much. Our next story is from Paul McAllister, but he has not been able to get on. So I'm going to kind of sub for him and tell a story about a story. Last Monday, I was meeting with my new associate, Dani Hudson, who couldn't be on. And he said, oh, Annette, it was so great listening to those stories last week. I actually used one of them. And I said, what? And he says, well, I met this lady and she had a job. She was at work. She was at a store. So I knew she had a car and she was asking me what LegalShield was. So I gave her an example and I used that story that Jane told about the water pumps with the cars. And that helped her understand what LegalShield was. So people, you know what? These stories matter. And here we had a brand new associate who was paying attention, listened to a story, and within the next couple of days was able to tell that story to someone, and that enabled him to share information. So these stories are all important. And I want to especially thank Bridget and also Paul, even though I couldn't get on tonight, because the two of them have consistently reached out to me with stories since we started this. So a special shout out to you. So let's give them a clap, hands. Thank you so much. And keep sharing those stories, folks. So we are now going to, I'm going to pass the Zoom over to one of our teammates who is known for her knowledge of LegalShield. And she's going to highlight a resource for us. So we are heading to Bernie, Texas for Miss Jane Lehman. Jane, go ahead.
Hey, and I wasn't sure who you were talking about. So good evening, everyone. Jane Lehman from Bernie, Texas. I'm going to go right over here. I want to share some of our resources that we may not think about all the time. So if I can pull that up, there we go. Resource ready. As always, you guys, we have on our phones, we have our LegalShield app, which in itself is an incredible source of, it's an incredible tool, I should say. And then on the right side, of course, is Prospect by LegalShield. But tonight I want to take you to LegalShield.com, LegalShield calendar, sorry, LegalShieldcalendar.com. And as we know, you can go up here and you can choose your state or province. I chose Oklahoma since that's the corporate, although most of the Zooms nowadays, they're nationwide anyway, right? But did you know that you can come over here and choose a category? When you choose a category, you've got all the, and this scrolls down, it's even longer than what I could show here on the screen. You've got business briefings, you have your fast start trainings, ladies of justice events, LegalShield Espanol, or lunch presentations. I mean, all of these different things that you can look for. And if you don't see something that that you're looking for, or you see something on the screen, for example, and you want to know more about when it is, I'm going to show you how to do that too. But for right now, here's the fast start trainings. Look at this calendar, 7 days a week, 3 times a day. You can take a fast start training, including on Sunday evenings, Saturday. I mean, you guys, there's no excuse not to get fast start training done, right? And we can do that with our new associates, by the way, as well. I just finished fast start training with one of my new associates recently. So simply look for the Fast Start trainings in your area, or like I said, most of them now are on a Zoom anyway. They're only an hour and a half long. Do any of you remember when we used to have to spend 6 hours at a Fast Start training? So it's really been scaled down. The next thing, there are specialty trainings. There have been, and coming up for December, the next one starts on November 30th, and it's the beauty industry. So who do you know that is and owns a hair salon, maybe sells Mary Kay cosmetics or Arbonne, anything having to do with the beauty industry or skincare? This is what this is going to be. This is James Kelly's background and his wife as well. So they're going to do 3 sessions, as you see the dates here. The next 3 on the 7th, 8th, and 9th of December are the young pros. And then 12, 13, 14 of December are moms with Elizabeth Gardner. After that, it's going to be a break for Christmas time. But these are specialty trainings that you can get your prospects onto. Who do you know that's a mom that might need to hear this information with Elizabeth Gardner, right? Every Tuesday evening, I take a screenshot of this if you want. You know, we've been doing Zooms on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. We never had one on a Tuesday evening though. And here's a Tuesday evening briefing that is phenomenal. It's through the organization of Scott Scantlin. He works very much the way we do. He doesn't do rah-rah. He gives a really professional presentation, and those on his team as well. This is every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Central Time. And you notice here, there's a dedicated URL to it, just LegalShield2021.com. So you can take a look at that. I'm giving some time so you can get screenshots or take a photo of it, if whatever you want to do. But just go to the calendar, look it up. So I mentioned, if you're looking at something, I saw this work from anywhere. What's that all about? Well, I go up here to the search bar, typed in work from anywhere, and the work from anywhere presentations pop up. They are every day, Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. I'll give you the details here just so you can take a look at what that looks like. When you click on it, you get all this information on how to join the event, how to add it to your calendar. You can copy and paste the information right here to put it into an email to a prospect or to text it to them, whatever. So there's just so much going on our calendar. And did you know also every single day, I went ahead and did this inside look. It's a live presentation twice a day, 7 days a week at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Central Time. About 20 minutes, as you can see, I put over here. Well, that didn't work out. It got a line there, but you get the idea. About a 20-minute presentation. So twice a day, you can get people on to take a look at what we do. And that's 7 days a week. This is really ramped up from what we used to have for presentations within our states. When we used to have to drive, I had to drive at least an hour to my presentations, if not 2.5 hours. So I'm happy to be sitting here on my Zoom, being able to engage with all of these different presentations. And with that, I want to remind you on Facebook, we have Team Ascent. If you need help, if you want to reach out to someone, if you're putting on your own Zoom, go to Team Ascent and post it there so that we know that's your team page. And member testimonials, those of you that just gave a testimonial, for example, we can go to member testimonials of LegalShield. That is a Facebook page where you can gather testimonials and you can give testimonials so that we can continue finding new stories to tell people. Then there's, of course, I just showed you the LegalShield calendar, and we have our success calendar, Success Partners calendar as well. If you'd like to jot down my name and phone number, please do. And I'm going to encourage tonight, everyone should maybe put their phone number in the chat so that we can have a way to keep up with each other. If you'd like to do a 3-way call, or you just want to get to know another team member, put your information in the chat. And I'll do the same. I know I went through that a little bit quickly, but we have a lot to get through tonight. So back to you, Annette.
Well, thanks, James. Super appreciate that. I absolutely love the calendar. In case you don't know, I mean, you don't have to just access the LegalShield calendar at legalshieldcalendar.com. You can go into your prospect and hit more and hit events, and it's right there in your prospect app. It's absolutely something that I use constantly, always looking for the different events that are available. So keep that in mind as well. Now I'm gonna head out to my partner, my favorite lady, Miss Leigh Perry.
Thank you so much, Dani. Leigh Perry in Evansville, Indiana. Super excited to be with you all this evening. Thought it might be a good time to do a little retrospective on our Sunday night team Zoom 2.0. So as was mentioned earlier by the kind Mr. Steve Beck, who has been here almost every call, with I think only 2 exceptions, Dani and I talked when we found out that Shield Nation was not going to be doing their call anymore, and said, we need something that folks can continue to plug into. So we talked with Mr. Drennan, and we agreed to do, hey, let's do 2.0. And we had a little bit different structure. We tried to involve a ton of people, and it was very gratifying. We had a great time doing it. We thought it was short term. And then Shield Nation didn't come back online. So we've continued to do it, but you guys can kind of tell that the numbers are down a little bit on these calls, and most of us on these calls are staying connected on our stretch call every morning through the Team Ascent Facebook group. There are other ways that we're staying connected, and most of you know that my life has changed dramatically. Edsel and I'll be moving into an extended care facility and in 10 days. And Dani's life has changed too. So we talked with Mr. Drennan. We said, you know, we think maybe it's time for Team Zoom 3.0. And seems like the holiday is a good time to take a hiatus. So this is going to be a 1-month, December only holiday hiatus from the Team Zoom. Now, Dave, don't panic, because I know Jane has just given you a lot of ways to stay connected. And I also know that Mr. Timmer Halligan, you know that he's always got something up his sleeve. You do have sleeves on tonight, right, Timmer? So yeah, see, there you go. And he's going to tell you all about it right now. Mr. Halligan.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Leigh and Dani and Annette and Steve Beck, who I think will play music until his very last day. So I'm not worried too much about Steve Beck not wanting to play us some awesome tunes. But I appreciate you all so much. The quality of what you all have done over the last several months, the consistency in what you've done has just been unbelievable. So I'm looking forward to the call 3.0, right? When we decide what's going to happen in January, but what we're going to do the next 2 Sundays, because, you know, listen, we got 2022 right around the corner. I mean, it's coming like just 4 weeks away, a little bit after when you get to move, Leigh. But 2022 is going to be here. And so we want to build momentum. And I got to say, Jane, what a tremendous job you did with that calendar. That calendar got me fired up just looking at all the different stuff that LegalShield has for us. And so 2022 is right around the corner. We just came out of an incredible training, probably the most exciting training I've seen in a while, with Brian Carruthers and Darnell Self just a few short weeks ago. And so for the next 2 Sundays, what we're going to do is we're going to have a 30-minute training Zoom. And I'm going to lead the Zoom. I've got a couple folks that are going to come help me out and do some incredible things. But we're going to get back to some good basics heading into this brand new year of 2022. It's going to be an awesome opportunity to get some of your associates that maybe haven't plugged in a little while. So it's going to be that training is going to get people engaged. It's going to work on getting people excited. It's going to be working on, you know, folks understanding, you know, what are the simple things that we've got to do. So definitely want to plan to get your associates on, and let's really rock it out for these 2 weeks. And then let's go into our Christmas break, but it's going to be at 8 o'clock Eastern time. So it's going to be a little bit earlier. One thing I realized about Eastern time is it's kind of late for those people at 9 o'clock at night. We're ready to go to bed sometimes. But so it's going to be 8 o'clock Eastern time on this same Zoom that we're on right now for the next 2 Sundays. So I think we got the 5th and the 12th is going to be our training. So looking forward to that. Leigh and Dani, appreciate y'all. And back to you, Leigh.
Thank you so much, Mr. Halligan. Always appreciate your enthusiasm and your continued support of the entire team. And folks, this is your chance to support the team as well. We're looking for the next, well, I can't say the next Leigh and Dani because there's only, you know, the 2 of us, but the next team extraordinaire to take over 3.0. If you are interested in being the leaders of the Team Zoom Sunday night 3.0, just let Dani or I know. We'll be glad to share what that means, what it entails, and then forward the information to Mr. Drennan if you say, yes, you're interested, so that he can have conversations with the folks as well. And he can make some decisions about where we're who's going to kick us off in January. So if you're interested, I put my info in the chat. I know Dani did as well. And if you didn't get a chance to get that, or you don't know how to save the chat, all you have to do is click on the chat at the bottom of your screen and those 3 dots, click save chat, and it'll save automatically to your computer. So I think that's it, other than our, we just really appreciate you guys going along with this, because nobody knew what they were getting into when they said, okay, let's let them do this. And it's been an awesome time. We've had a great time doing it. We've had a lot of fun and had an excellent opportunity to interview some of y'all and then some of the other leaders on our team, and looking forward to seeing what the future holds for all of us. So I think that's it. Dani, did you have anything to add before I go back to Steve Beck for our closing video?
I really appreciate you all for showing up and supporting us and giving us the appreciation and love that you have. I appreciate you all stepping up when we asked you guys to do a quote or to say the signature message, or when we asked to do an interview. I know sometimes it's not always comfortable to be the speaker. So I really appreciate everybody that stepped up and helped us. And we are looking forward to what Zoom 3.0 is going to look like. And, Leigh and I will always still be here to help you guys. So keep that in mind. We are just looking for the next set of who's ready to take us over. So back to you, Leigh.
Well, and Mr. Drennan's unmuted, so we all know what that means.
True.
Well, I want to thank you guys so much. And, it's been said many, many times how appreciative we all are for you two stepping up. But I really want to emphasize this point. Dani and Leigh, really came to me and said, hey, we think we should do this. Can we do this? And I know they both grew from doing it. And that's a point I want you all to think about when you think about, well, maybe it's my time to step up and take a few months and help lead something where it's safe. This isn't corporate America where if you screw it up, you're going to get fired. This is where you grow. So I encourage you to reach out to Dani or Leigh and maybe talk to them about what it do for you and what's involved. And, there's certainly at least 2 people here ready to step up. And then if, let's say it's Annette, then Annette and whoever it is can help someone new come along and share stories. So whoever it is, I hope you view the value of stepping up and expanding your comfort zone. So thanks so much, Dani. Thanks so much, Leigh. Back to you, Leigh.
Well, we just want to say thanks to everybody that stepped up whenever they were asked. There were a lot of folks that were in that mix. So I think we've said thanks to everybody. It feels a little bit like the Academy Awards. We just keep going and going. So why don't we just say thanks, love to you all. And Mr. Beck, how about we stop the recording and go to our closing video, sir?